bonfires burning bright, pumpkin faces in the night. I remember Halloween, dead cats hanging from poles, little dead around in droves. I remember Halloween. Brown-leaf vertigo, where skeleton life is known. I remember Halloween, this day anything goes, burning bodies hanging from poles. I remember Halloween. Halloween, 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 Halloween. Candy apples and razor blades, little did I soon engrave.
All right, and welcome to Without Your Head, Friday the 13th edition. I'm Neil.
I am John.
And as always, that would make me Troy.
Man. Now, here we are. It's 11 p.m. Eastern. We've got we survived throughout the day. Mm-hmm. We've locked ourselves in the basement.
Yeah. The only safe place.
Right. We were trying to avoid any ladders, black cats, mirrors, which, you know, I try to avoid mirrors anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
In case you break them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And we got 1 hour left. We're hoping that we can survive the whole day and that we could live through another Friday the 13th.
I've been hearing noises all day. It's strange. It's like somebody's stalking me outside of my household here.
This little backstory here is the three of us last year when we were in Maryland. One night we went and saw the Gypsy.
Uh-huh.
And she was giving us a palm reading. And she predicted that we would all meet our fate on the same day on Friday the 13th. So every year after that, we're going to lock ourselves in the basement, just the three of us, no one else around. So we can try to avoid our premature death.
The only thing that you didn't take into consideration there is what if one of us planned this death all along?
Oh my God.
That is true.
Maybe next year, if we survive the hour, which everyone listening live will find out if we survive this hour.
Don't bet any money on it.
Next year, maybe we'll have to get in the basement. We'll put up some walls, and we'll have to lock each of us in our separate chamber.
I'm keeping my own key to my lock.
Oh man! But while we're here, we might as well talk about Friday the 13th films.
I wouldn't see why not.
I mean, it's only fitting for the day. I mean, Friday the 13th. Talk about the Friday the 13th movie.
Right, and it'll keep our minds off killing each other. So if any of us are thinking that, we might forget about it for a while and talk about Friday the 13th.
Mm-hmm.
As long as we make it through an hour.
Right. You got 55 minutes left.
55 minutes.
Right.
To go.
So if you want to call in tonight, the number is 508-644-8503. Let's let John kick it off here, because he's the Friday the 13th. He's probably the biggest fan around.
That I know.
First of all, before I start my Friday the 13th discussion, I want to run down all the films. Now, I just want to say, because I catch a lot of flack for being a Friday the 13th fan.
Right.
And I just want to say, I understand Halloween. Halloween are great films. Well, the first one. But
right. And H2O, I guess.
Yeah, H2O is pretty good. I mean, you got your good Halloween movies. Like,
right.
H2O was good. There's aspects I like about them all. But to clear this up, to get it on the forefront here, Alright. Halloween 1 is a better picture than all of the Friday the 13th.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I'm with you.
Okay. But Friday the 13th, as a series, it goes along in the first 6, I'm going to say. Well, it's a little hazy on 5. But the first 4 definitely go along as a series way better than the Halloween series went.
Right.
Because, Halloween 1 and 2, they go along really well. I think they go along, like, I really like the concept of just continuing it the night afterwards, like they did with Halloween 2. And I think they look the same in a lot of ways. If they would get a freaking DVD release that looks halfway decent, but all the transfers look awful in Part 2.
Right.
And if you watch like these videos on YouTube, you can always like pick a scene from Part 2 because they always look just awful. But anyhow, if they'd get a good transfer Part 2 out, you would see how great of a film that looks. It looks just like Part 1 in a lot of ways.
Which you mentioned on the Dean Cundy interview.
Mm-hmm.
Which is available at withoutyourhead.com.
Mm-hmm. And then you got Halloween Part 3, which had nothing to do with the Michael Myers storyline.
Right. Which they just veered off, and apparently the plan was to keep doing the Halloween series, but use a different story each time. And then they realized that people weren't watching just because, they say Halloween in it, but, they like the Michael Myers character.
And I will say this for Halloween Part 3, though. I think it is a pretty decent movie if you watch it on its own merit, if you don't judge it as a Halloween picture.
Yep. Right. No, I totally agree with that. I think if it wasn't called Halloween 3, if it was just the, what's the subtitle of the movie?
Season of the Witch.
See, if they just put out a Season of the Witch, I think, it probably would have done better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which I think because George Romero came out with a Season of the Witch, they didn't want to put it out, as just that. Maybe they could have. Right. Could have been known as like a Halloween.
Halloween 8 more days to Halloween.
I'm not sure. Crazy Halloween mess that burned your brain up.
Oh man, I think that's a movie we're gonna make when we put out our film.
Oh, that sounds like a
right.
No false advertising.
Right. If we survive the night.
You think And then you got Halloween 4, which is a good picture. That's all right. And then, but it's not my.
I don't even remember number 4.
You don't remember number 4?
No, once you get after number 3, I don't really. They kind of all run together to me until they get to H2O.
Me too. I'm the same way.
Well, it's strange because amongst the Halloween community, a lot of people regard Halloween 4 as being the second best. Which I don't necessarily agree with that, but if you go to the Halloween message boards and stuff like that. That one's kind of regarded as the best, second best. But I think it's all right. It's kind of silly in parts, and the mask that they actually use in that, I think it just looks terrible. And then
they use a different mask.
It's it's
not like a Leonard Nimoy mask.
It looks like a giant milk dud on the guy's face or something. I don't know. It looks really stupid. I didn't like that one, but I actually liked the guy who played. I believe it was George Wilbur or whatever.
Do you think Shatner ever tried to sue for some type of royalties after it came out? It was pretty much well known that that's a William Shatner mask.
I bet money on that.
Yeah, I don't know. He might have tried, but I know they asked him to do a cameo in Halloween H2O,
right.
And he refused to do it for whatever reason. So
all right.
I think Jamie Lee Curtis was trying to get him on the line for that one.
He wanted more bucks.
Mm-hmm. But to sum it all up, I love H2O. I freaking hate Part 5 of Halloween. I think Part 6 probably did the best it could have done with the sequel to how the way Part 5 ended, because 5 it had the crazy tattoos on people's arms, and then they just break Michael Myers out of jail at the end, and it doesn't make.
All right.
Yeah.
I do remember that one.
Yeah, and I think they did the best that they could have done with a sequel, especially if you watch the producer's cut, which is an entirely different movie, and it makes a lot more sense than the actual theatrical cut of Part 6. But, they kind of abandoned it in H2O, and then they, the storyline from the previous sequels, except Part 2, and then Then they had the reality one with Busta Rhymes beating up Michael Myers, which is something I highly disagree with. And then
I've never seen that one. That one I think
You've got to see because Troy is actually a big fan of Busta Rhymes.
I am. I have an autographed CD from him.
Yes, he does.
awesome. So that man, he took out Michael Myers with like his own with like a stick, and I think he gave him a couple of kung fu kicks. So.
Oh man!
Did he go like ha 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 while he was doing it?
Yeah, I forget the line at the end, but I believe it was something like "trick or treat, mother effer" or something like that. I forget.
He was riding a bus on that one.
But basically, what I'm trying to say, all right, is that the Halloween pictures all go along. You know, they don't really go along. They don't mesh well with each other.
Right.
I think
they're all over the place. Right.
I think if you look at the first four Friday 13th, I think you're going to think that they mesh a lot better together. From 1, 2, 3, and then 4, and then 5.
Probably even 5.
Yeah, 5 is a little goofy. It's kind of got some cornball aspects to it. But I think...
But, I mean, it still has that same,
It picks up where the fourth one... Right.
Yeah.
Even if it's kind of crazy, I mean, the storyline is exactly... It picks up where the other one's left off.
Yeah.
It doesn't ignore what happened.
That one also...
That one's continuity. That's what he's looking for.
Right.
Exactly, the continuity between the characters. Because, if you look how Jason looks in Part 3... Then Part 4, they're fairly similar. They have differences about them. And then, I think Jason just looked a lot more badass in a lot of sequels, where with Michael Myers, it kind of the mask just looks goofy in some of them, and I don't know why they can't use the original mask or, try to graft it, but there's some sort of, I don't know, I think when you're talking about the William Shatner part, I think there was something up with that because they can't.
That's maybe why they changed it.
Yeah,
right?
they can't use that exact design. I don't know why.
Mm-hmm. But what you're saying, I've always said this. I think Friday 13th 1, 2, 3, 4 is really almost like one long movie.
Yeah,
because they really pick up exactly where the previous movie left off.
Yep.
I think after that, I'm not really a big fan of them, to be honest. I'll enjoy them. Mm-hmm. I think some of them are funny on their own, but the first 4 I think they're pretty good movies. I think actually probably the 4th one's my favorite after rewatching them.
Oh
recently.
yeah, for sure. I think they're all good up until 6, and then after 6, they kind of not so great. But
right. You want to start off with number 1?
Well, I'd like to kind of sum up why I love.
Okay. All right. Go
the
on.
Friday 13th movies. It's just because the overall feel of the films, it has a different kind of different feeling to it. It's you can feel it feels like a summer camp kind of movie, and then all of a sudden people start getting killed, and there's always a storm normally in the Friday 13th films, and I always like that aspect of it. They always kind of work in a storm somewhere, and
that's true.
And Jason, he's just this killing machine, and it's kind of what's exploitational horror character.
Right.
This guy with this big hockey mask, and he just goes around and kills people. I mean, why would a crazy retard from the force get a hockey mask and just go around killing people? It makes no sense.
Right. But, I think they explained that in Jason Goes to Hell.
Yeah, which is one of the worst ones. I freaking hate Jason Goes to Hell.
All right, but which one's worse, so Jason Goes to Hell or Jason versus Freddy?
I'm going to have to say Jason Goes to Hell. I kind of like Jason versus Freddy. I mean, I know it wasn't a great movie, but I just kind of enjoyed the interaction between the two characters.
Well, if you want to prove that he's the killing machine, though, that's the movie. Because, they show that a lot on the Sci-Fi Channel. And it seems like we always come on the same scene where he's just walking through this cornfield, and he walks into this party, and I think he kills he must kill 30 people in the course of 4 minutes in the movie, just one right after the other. I think he shish kebabs a few on the on the machete.
Yeah, I believe
he's going off. On
I think in that one, isn't there's some CGI in that movie? Some people complain about the use of CGI in it, like for like blood, I believe.
Yeah, there's a bit of CGI throughout the film.
I was just wondering, are we ever going to get to the point like you're talking about killing all those people? If you ever watch a movie with a lot of CGI, sometimes they go overboard and they'll have, instead of like a cast of thousands like an old movie, it'll be cast, look like there's like 10,000 like people in an army or whatever. Do you think they'll do that with like a slasher film and they'll just have like Jason just literally go through like just a swarm of people and just be like decapitating like 50 or 60,000 people?
Well, now that you're putting that idea out there,
right.
It might be a possibility.
I still say that was actually one problem I had with the remake of Dawn of the Dead. Is I do like the fact that you have a lot of zombies. I think that's what you need.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they actually went overboard in the amount of zombies in between the mall and the other building.
Yeah.
It was basically like an ocean of zombies.
Oh, that's true. They were all in that one area, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was a little bit too many. It was
kind of like in the...
when they're driving the truck there at the end and
yeah.
like running or like they're just
there was no
kind of like in
a glimpse of hope.
The George Romero one, Dawn of the Dead, the original one, the better one. But they kind of say like it's a place that it was an important place in their lives and everything.
Right.
So basically, in the remake, it's basically saying like a whole football stadium was like invading this mall every like weekend. So.
But it wasn't even really the mall. They were just kind of
they were just kind of walking. Yeah, just like they were walking through the
street.
street for no particular reason.
Just so they could get shot by that guy on the rooftop.
Yeah,
I understood the point was like they're showing it's pretty much hopeless to shoot them because you'll never kill them all. But I don't think you needed quite like that many. It was still a little ridiculous.
Little clusters, a few here, a few there,
Mm-hmm.
Here comes like a pack of them.
Plus, there should be a little bit of hope. There's no possible way someone could run through those, through that group of people, through that group of zombies.
Mm-hmm. But getting back to the super zombie himself,
right? Now, if they were all Jasons in a Night of the Living Dead type movie, there would be no help. There would be no hope.
No, then you're pretty much done.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Basically, the first Friday the 13th, though, it kind of has like the same feel about it, and I kind of like how they set up the series. But it's probably not my favorite one. But I enjoy it. I thought it was pretty good.
Mm-hmm. I think most people when he's mentioned Friday the 13th, I don't know if they've even seen the original one because a lot of people associate Friday the 13th with Jason. And Jason, he's got the small scene at the end of the movie, which, most people listening to this show would know. But I think kind of like a mainstream audience, I don't know if they really realize that the first one, the killer's actually the mother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they probably wouldn't. You
had some excellent effects provided by Tom Savini in this one. I thought that was pretty great. My favorite,
some of my favorite like death scenes in that one.
Oh yeah, like the Kevin Bacon when he gets the knife shoved up through his throat. That's
right.
Oh yeah, that one's awesome.
I'm a huge Tom Savini fan. I like pretty much, even if the movie itself isn't that good that he works on, there's usually some cool effects that you can enjoy while you're watching it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And I don't know, probably like my favorite scenes in the first Friday the 13th is probably watching Betsy Palmer at the end. I think that's just great whenever she's just talking to herself.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome there, yeah.
That's some great stuff right there. Just like, kill her, Mommy. Kill her.
Yeah, and she's not in it very much, but her scenes are definitely still a movie, I would say.
And how great is that? They build the whole first movie for the next one. I don't think they did that intentionally, but...
No. They probably thought that was going to be the end of it.
Yeah.
I don't think that was kind of an afterthought, even putting the final scene with Jason jumping out of the water in.
Mm-hmm.
If they didn't do that, do you think they would even made a sequel?
Yeah, it kind of just builds up for the Jason character because she's talking about Jason through the entire thing. She's like, the entire ending sequence, and she's like kind of just like just bringing him to life in a way,
Mm-hmm.
Just put an intrigue into the fans' heads.
Do you think the series could have gone on if they didn't have that ending? And do you think if they went on, without Jason, if they would have brought back her or something, do you think? I don't think the series would have had the life it's had.
Basically, I'm gonna put it like this: Friday the 13th 1 drawed a huge, I think it did pretty well in the box office. Mm-hmm. So I think there is no doubt about it. They're going to come out with a second one.
Right. Well, do you think though the second one, if they didn't have Jason at the end, if they didn't bring him back for the second one, if they would have just had maybe the mother come back from the dead, do you think it?
Oh, would have done as well?
I don't think that would have worked.
No, I don't think the Friday the 13th films would have. I think they'd be remembered kind of like like April Fool's Day or something like that. Mm-hmm. I don't think it'd be like as huge as they are,
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And then I think the second one is it's beautiful in a lot of ways. Just how he has the sack over his head instead of. I
always think that was scarier.
Yeah, I always thought it's pretty creepy.
Mm-hmm. When I was a kid, that actually scared me. That second, I'd probably say the second one. The fourth one's probably my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like that. The first four, I would say, my favorite.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's kind of like just I don't know. Like it kind of just makes me think of.
The second one's pretty gritty too. It's not as humorous as some of the other ones. Mm. The second and the fourth one, I think, are. The third one's got a lot of humor in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Third one's too goofy for me.
Yeah, it's goofy at times.
Too many 3D effects for me.
Oh man. Did you not see what poster was on my wall when I took that Conrad Brooks T-shirt?
Oh, I know. Well, I figured it was just because of the eye.
Yeah, that eye does look goofy. I mean,
that's class.
They say that looks really great, like whenever you're actually watching it in 3D in the right way. Yeah, it's different. It's not the standard like blue and red glasses 3D. It's kind of like a Shutter glasses or something like that. But they say that looks like fantastic, like if you actually watch it like that. But I don't know, when you take the 3D aspect out of it, it doesn't. It's not looking so great because all you can focus on is that goofy looking head. But my favorite scene out of the second one, it's probably like one of my favorite scenes in all the Friday 13th. It's when it's a long scene where Jason kind of has the knife. And you can look at his thumb, and you see like he has like a kind of like where his thumb's been smashed in, and it's just that long scene right there. I think that's just the awesome scene in it.
The second, when they go back to like his little, which I don't know if they really revisit in many of the other sequels, but they go back to like his hut basically, his little shack.
Yeah.
And he's got he's got his mom's head there. It's like a tribute to his mother. Like a shrine to his mother, and that scene really scared me when I was a kid. I always found that really spooky. Just a little shack out in the woods, and this crazy guy, and he's got a shrine to his mom and stuff. And the mom's head just sitting there looks really creepy.
Oh, I know that. Yeah, that is a great scene when they first walk in.
Yeah. See, I kind of like it when he's still a person. Mm-hmm. He's basically like a crazy guy out in the woods, and he actually has some emotion because he's there with his mom. He loves his mom, and he's killing these people because they killed his mom, basically. Later on, it's still enjoyable and everything, but I kind of like it better when it's more realistic that this is an actual guy and he could be hurt.
Yeah, and kind of like Part 3, I think, shows that a lot. Like, when he gets a knife stuck in his leg, you hear him just scream. He's like,
Right.
He lets out that scream, and a lot of the things, Part 3 is my favorite one out of the entire series. I kind of like, I don't know, it's like, I kind of think the story is like pretty decent, to be like a 3D movie. I think it all moves along pretty well. And I just kind of enjoy the goofy characters in it, and then I really love the way Richard Brooker looks in that one. I think that's probably just like, the best look.
Is great.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's just like the best looking Jason. That's like, I don't know. That one is just like, it's just my favorite. I love the three triangles on his mask, opposed to like the one that they did in Part 6 and stuff. And I love. I don't know. It's strange to explain it because it's just a lot of things that I love.
I'm going to have to revisit, I think.
I love the ending
Like, I just don't, I don't remember it that fondly, It's been a long, long time since I've seen it.
Yeah, I've actually watched these quite a few, since we started doing the show, because we had a lot of guests from the show, and I've grown to enjoy them a lot more. I have to
I'm
admit.
going to have to do that. I'm going to have to check out 3 again.
Mm-hmm.
And
I've done that with other movies, too.
Part 3, probably one of my favorite scenes is when they actually put the noose around his head. And, well, there's several scenes in part 3 that I love, but like whenever they push him off of the farm and then you hear it snap, kind of like where like it's breaking his neck, and then she opens up the barn doors and she's just looking at him, thinking, oh, he has to be dead, and then he just puts up his hands. And then he just freaking grabs the top of the rope, and he pulls himself up, and he's just like, fuck this noose. It's like, that doesn't stop me. And then, you see his face being revealed, and then another one of my favorite scenes is probably like, I think it's just like, it's like the icon coming onto the scene. It's just like, here he is, it's like, when he walks out and he shoots that spear into that one girl's eyes, Vera. I think that's just like one of the greatest like scenes ever. Just cause like it's like here he is, it's Jason,
Like the arrival.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, basically, it's like here he is, the Jason as you know him today,
Right.
It's like that's like, the very first scene.
I just want to throw in here quick is Ryron in our chat room and Sebastian also agrees that they say that the beginning of part 2 is actually one of their favorite openings to a horror sequel.
Yeah,
when Jason comes into town to avenge his mom's death.
Yeah, I think the beginning of part 2, that's pretty awesome too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But we say part 3. Isn't 3 then they kill him with the machete to the head or the axe to the head?
Yeah, it's like that's another one of my favorite scenes because after he comes down off the noose, he reveals his face. He starts going after the girl, and she puts a freaking axe into his head, and like he just stops for a minute, like he's about to go down, and then he's just like, then he puts his arms up again. It's like, oh no, fuck that axe, It's like that ain't taking me out either, and then I think like how do they end it in that one? Yeah, I think he falls over after that point.
Right. Yeah, because in the sequel, then the fourth one, he still has the big scar from there, which I always really like too, because it really ties in all together.
Yeah, I love that. It has the little chip out of the top of the mask where she put the axe into his head. Mm-hmm. I love that.
Because it doesn't ignore that happened, and just like he came back from the dead. I mean, he was hit with it, he survived it, but they still got the wound there, and they actually acknowledge it.
Mm-hmm. So. Okay, and then we're on the fourth one. I think the fourth one, the way it opens up is really eerie, just how they show the helicopter flying over the barn, and it shows Jason's body laying in the barn, and then it's just like, and then they take him to the morgue, and then you have Axel who's watching girlies on the TV doing exercises, and like I love that scene at the beginning and it's just showing it, it seems really creepy, and then just Jason just gets up and twists some girl's head off.
Right. Well, they're about to get it on, I believe.
Yeah. And I think the way Jason looks in part 4 is probably like one of the best, Yeah,
definitely.
And I think that guy that played him, and he didn't want to be credited for the role in part 4, and I'd love to know why, because I think he was like really great in the role, because I thought he just like gave this different feeling to the Jason character. He was kind of just like after he I think it's like he busts the door in part 4, and he just steps through the doorway, and he just kind of has like this cocky stance. It's just like it's great.
Is that like near the end of that one?
Yeah.
When he breaks, that's a great scene.
Oh yeah.
You had Crispin Glover in this one.
Oh, yeah. This was before he took off.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's before. I think it was a little bit before, like he was in Back to the Future.
Right.
I forget when Back to the Future
definitely
came
like a pretty big cult figure, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
He's playing Montag.
Mm-hmm. You had the twins in this one, which always piques your. It always gets teens' eyes, I mean.
Oh man, twins.
That was
It's like an old Three's Company kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. I really like the way the story's kind of structured in this one. It's different than like part 3 was different, where they had like all the guys. You know, they kind of just went to a house within the around the Friday 13th lake or whatever, Camp Blood or whatever. And then in part 4 they kind of do that again. And I kind of enjoy that, how they're all just contained in one house, and he kind of picks them off one by one, you know.
Right.
And
you gotta have to admit, you have to say about Corey Feldman being in part 4, because some people might hear that name and kind of giggle or whatever, but I always thought that he was a really good actor.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
especially when he's a kid.
Yeah.
He probably would still be, if he actually was, in a decent movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the closing sequence to part 4, when he's like screaming "die" and he's hitting him with a machete and stuff.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Then when he hugs his sister and he just has that look.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's pretty cool.
I don't know if if it had somebody else, if it was just just a normal kid actor, it wasn't that good in that movie. I don't know if it would have, but that would have held up as well. I doubt it would have.
No, probably not.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I heard he wanted to be. They wanted him to be in part 5, but I think he's making Goonies.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then
really?
and if you watch the special edition DVD, that comes with the box set, he talks about how he would like Friday the 13th to get basically like the H2O treatment and just do a sequel right off of part 4 and ignore all the rest of them, so he could be in it. I think.
Yeah, in part 5 they had him at the beginning, but they say like on that special DVD that it was like kind of filmed in the guy's backyard and stuff, and they only had like a day or two with him, so that was just filmed in that time.
Also, that they say part 4, when they were going to make it, that they wanted to end the franchise, so they gave him, they said, kill off Jason. We want a way to kill off Jason.
Mm-hmm. The tagline being on this film, the final chapter. So
right.
I thought it was. I don't want to bash the man too much, but I think it was just a terrible idea. But like on the special DVD,
right.
Tom Savini did some of the special effects on this on part 4 because he previously worked with the director Joseph Zito on The Prowler, and everybody needs to check that movie out if they're a Friday 13th fan, because it feels a lot like part 4 in a lot of ways. And anyhow, but like. The ending sequence, he wanted to take like a microwave and put on top of Jason's head and like melt his head.
Right. So basically, is it Tommy Jarvis? Is the
character's name.
Right. And in the beginning of that movie, they show him where he's making special effects and stuff, and they say it's not based off Tom Savini, but I kind of think it's an homage to him. Mm-hmm. Being this kid who likes to make masks and all this stuff. And there was going to be a scene in that where he builds basically like a microwave that would melt like army men, like when it was turned to setting 1, and it had like up to 10 setting, let's say. And his idea to kill off Jason was to take that, and he was going to smash it over his head, and then turn it all the way up to 10, and his head would explode.
Yeah, I didn't think that was like the best idea.
Right.
I'm kind of glad they forgot that one.
Yeah. and Savini's theory is that they told them, like, no, we want him to kind of die, like, by the machete or something in the woods. And I kind of think that was their way of being nice to Tom Savini without saying, like, we don't want to do that idea.
But, later on in the series, they have a freaking android beating him up, so, I mean...
Right. Well, this was earlier when they actually cared more about what they put in the series.
Just wait till I get to that one. Those motherfuckers. But anyhow... alright, we're going to part 5, I guess?
Right.
I think the ending to part 4 was really cool, too, but, part 5 comes up.
4 is my favorite ending of all of them, I would say.
That was so cool.
All right. We're in the 11:30 hour here, and we're all still alive.
We're all still alive. We got. I suggest we all keep our hands out in front of us and palms up.
Oh man.
Actually, before we get into part 5, why don't we take a little break here? I think I might need to recoup.
Oh man. He's ODing on Friday the 13th.
I think I am. This is a very selfish show for me because I believe like when the films were coming out, it's probably a lot like my Scream and my respects because I'm not really big on the Scream movies. I think the first one's good and all, but like I don't think Troy was like the biggest fan of him while he was growing up.
No, see, I was always more of a Halloween guy.
Yeah, I can understand that. I mean,
yeah.
Halloween were great movies as well, and I can understand why people have like but you can love them both. You can love them both.
What you were saying about the Scream thing is just to explain that in case people didn't quite understand that.
Yeah, it's kind of like
you grew up with these movies. Then when people see Scream and say that they're the best, you say, well, you grew up with Friday the 13th and you think they're superior.
What about Jason Voorhees, you motherfucker?
Right. And so a kid now might be growing up with the Scream films, and so it's the same idea that. And Troy was Troy's the other generation. Mm-hmm. So when like people your age were saying that the Jason Voorhees was so great, he was saying, well, what about Michael Myers?
Yeah,
so it all kind of ties together.
And a great track that Troy and it's one of their favorite bands. I think it's a great track that everybody needs to check out. Is by the Sloppy Seconds. It's the Mighty Hero.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, and it kind of talks about that. It's like, it's like one of the verses kind of goes like, do you like Freddy Krueger because he takes so many lives? And then it's just like, then it goes on and it says like, I believe in Dr. Five, Dr. Five.
Yeah, Dr. Fives, yeah.
Yeah, Fives. And it's just like, I don't know, that kind of like puts it all in perspective,
Well, then you'll have the next generation though, and they'll be like, "Hey man, the Scream movies ruled," and they'll be like, "Come on, Grandpa, like it's all about what is it, Saw."
Right.
What are you talking about?
Right.
Awesome. That, or whatever's going to be cool now.
Yeah. But I will say this: I don't believe that the ghost face or whatever you want to call him in Scream. I don't think he's as big as an icon as like Jason Voorhees, but I could be wrong.
Hell no.
I know. You know what? I think he wasn't anytime, but I kind of think after one, it was a bigger deal than it was after the series was over.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because you saw the mask everywhere after the first one. Then I think the second and the third one kind of. Yeah, I don't think it makes a series as remembered as it was just after the first film.
Mm-hmm. Screw the break. We'll go on here.
Okay. All right, we're going right to number 5. Four ends in like a definite manner. You kind of think this is the end of the series, and they kill them off, and then it does so well, so they got to come back with a 5th one. So what do?
Well, basically, this one is the imposter Jason. This is the one where. It wasn't Jason Voorhees at all, but a guy dressed up to look like Jason Voorhees.
Right.
Which, if you ask me, that's better than having him like
just rise from the dead,
or
survived getting cut up.
No, what I was going to say was like that's better than like in Jason Goes to Hell, where he's like invading other people's bodies. I thought that was just
yeah, right. At least no one just decided to go and eat the man's heart.
Yeah.
You see that heart there? I'm going to take a big chunk out of it. but like,
then I'm going to wash it down with some stuff.
The imposter Jason. I thought the mask was kind of neat looking. They kind of had like the big blue kind of like slashes kind of on the
right
under the eyes on this one. So it didn't look exactly like Jason, but I still think there's a lot of cool scenes in Part 5. I definitely love some of the humor in it, like like the guy who rides around on the motorcycle and is like and his mean mom or whatever.
Right.
It's like it's astonishing to think that this stuff like was actually in theaters. but I don't know. It's just I enjoy a lot of the scenes in it. I think a lot of them are pretty spooky, and I love the ending sequence where it's like. It has like basically they got another character to portray the Tommy Jarvis character, and he's in like this mental kind of hospital thing, and then like it shows like at the end of the I might sound so corny saying this, but like it shows him like stare like whenever he walks into the barn, like because he's there to like save the other characters that were being attacked by Jason, and like he's just standing there, and then it starts playing sound clips from the Friday Part 4, and it kind of has like Corey Feldman screaming Jason, and he's just like die, and then
Right.
and it kind of like has it going through that guy's head, and I probably sound awful saying this, but it kind of gives me goosebumps. I'll say it.
Right.
I tear up at that moment.
Oh man.
But and then the way he dies in this one I thought was pretty great too. They just had a big freaking bunch of spikes. Whatever this thing was used for.
Right. They just decided to have like a bit of spikes underneath the.
All farms have a big trap in case a tiger's coming.
This happens quite often in movies. They'll be like on something high up, and they'll just suddenly look down, and you never noticed this before, but suddenly there's something with all these spikes sticking up. It happened actually on. I just recently watched The Breed, which is just a pretty terrible movie, and they were like up on a barn or something, and they looked down, and here was like this merry-go-round with like spikes sticking up, so you knew what was happening.
Yep, you know where that's going.
I just want to mention quick too about Part 5 is that Dominic Braccia. He's Joey at the beginning of that movie.
And that's a great scene in itself.
Yeah,
he offers the man a freaking candy bar, and the guy freaks out and cuts him up with a freaking axe.
Now that man Joey went on to host. He's a host now of a Fox News show. We'll probably be having him on the show sometime soon.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Yeah. We were trying to, we were kind of arranging the show, and we didn't think about it till like Monday, and so we thought to try to get some guests or something, and for whatever reason I like to surprise people with like a nice show on Friday 13th.
Right.
I don't know why I want to just surprise people.
Well, it could be like our annual thing,
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll be locked down in the basement, and
Yep.
to pass the time while we're hoping we don't die, we can talk about some movies.
Yeah, for real. Okay, have some interviews. But, we wanted to record some stuff and then just kind of like drop a nice Friday the 13th show on everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But
Like we did last year.
Yeah, that's kind of like why we didn't talk about it on the message board. There was a few people on it, asking
Right.
whether we're going to do it or not. And I don't know. For whatever reason, I like to surprise people.
But while you mentioned that, I just want to say quick, everybody check out the new message board. You go to withoutyourhead.com, and there's a bunch of links all over that website. And we even have a section for Scott Goldberg, who's been on the show twice, and he's going to be in the new documentary, Son of the Horror Business. So you want to go there and you want to ask him a question about, making your own movies or anything. Just talk to him about anything. He's a fun dude. Or talk to us. You can check out the message board.
Mm-hmm. So at the end of Part 5, they have, it's like the Tommy Jarvis character. He's laying in a hospital bed, and like he sees the ghost of Jason or something like that. And then,
Right.
I think it's supposed to be like it's transferred over to him. They kind of did the same thing in Halloween Part 4, where like it's passed on to the girl in that, Danielle Harris or whatever. But anyhow,
I totally forgot about that.
it's kind of this great thing, and he just like he's in the hospital bed, and it's like a dream sequence, and then like the main lady in that movie, the blonde, she opens up his hospital room and walks in, and she sees like his window's been bashed out or something like that, and then she looks over at him in bed, and he just grabs his knife out of nowhere and just stabs her and starts laughing like a man. Which I kind of enjoyed that scene. I don't know why.
Right.
No, that is kind of a neat scene. I remember that.
Yeah, and so that's kind of how Part 5. I guess they kind of felt like they're going to transfer it over to the Tommy Jarvis character killing people.
Well, I kind of think they hinted towards that in Part 4, even though they said that was going to be the end. They kind of hinted towards that, he kind of thought, that maybe he would become the killer.
With the look at the end, like how it's like he has that glaze in his eyes.
Yeah. Which, I mean, that could have worked, but I don't know if the fans really would have bought it.
Yeah. All right, part 6. So they abandoned that whole storyline and they said, hell, let's bring Jason back to life for Christ's sakes.
Right? You can't have an imposter. Every film that can't be a new imposter.
They dropped the dude who played Tommy Jarvis in the last one, which I thought he did a pretty good job. And then they got Thom Matthews.
Yeah.
The guy from Return of the Living Dead, and they put in the American Ninja movies. And
which we'll be talking about next week.
Oh, will we?
No.
No. I was like, man, I gotta watch those. I've never seen them. But they put, it has him in the Tommy Jarvis character, which I loved his rendition of it as well, but I didn't think he looked like, he looks nothing like Corey Feldman. Like,
right.
If you look at Corey Feldman, you're like, well, how will this guy age? And it's like, apparently he won't change much at all, as we know now. But, like, you look at him and you don't think he's going to be like a redhead, but...
Right.
But I love him in this one, and I'd love to get that guy for an interview too.
We tried to set that up, but
yeah, we failed.
Yeah, I might as well say it here. We actually almost had I actually contacted Kevin Bacon, and there was a few days we actually thought we were going to have Kevin Bacon on the show, but it didn't work out.
I don't know. You get that standard line. It's like, oh, well, let's get in line with my publicist. And
right, and then it's like, oh, well, that means no. That means I'm
you always have hope.
I'm on the phone, and that's going to be the end of it.
You always have hope, though. You're like, they might do it. And I'm like, I don't know, dude. And you're like, they said no. They're the hatchet man.
They mentioned publicist, and
right.
That's where it is.
I'm like, well, how much you paying us? Nothing? Oh, well, no, he's not available.
Well, get lost, you losers.
Deadbeat.
All right. Part 6. I love the way. I know I start them all out. I know I'm just sounding like I'm repeating myself in this one, but I love the way Jason looks in this one as well. I love that he has a freaking tool belt.
Since there are two different people who actually play him in Part 6.
Yeah.
Because I think the guy that they get to play him originally, he does like some scenes outside at the beginning.
Yeah, and then they kind of get rid of that guy, and that's like... Then they have C.J. Graham throughout the rest of it. So.
Yeah. But actually, I guess who did like a thing about him, like at like a club he worked for. And this is like apparently how he got the role. They talked about in the special edition, like before they did this, he did like he dressed up as Jason for like a Halloween party or something, and breaks through a door or breaks through a wall, and like the special effects people said, if we ever do Part 6, we'll hire you to play Jason, and then I guess they did.
Definitely.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. You go on.
But C.J. Graham, he was just awesome this one. I mean, he was pretty awesome. And there's definitely this one scene where they're like, he breaks through the door, and I think they just told him just to freaking break through the door.
Right.
And it looks awesome. I mean, wood's flying everywhere, and it looks, it's like one of the best scenes. Mm-hmm. I really like the way this one's set up, too, because it's kind of like, they bring the aspect back of, like, watching kids at the camp, and this is, like, the first one where they actually had kids at the camp.
Right, it wasn't just the young adults who was going to watch their kids, but no kids.
Yeah.
And also, though, in this one, I don't know, maybe because it was the age I was at when I first saw it, but the beginning always made me really laugh. Maybe it was because I was...
The James Bond sequence?
When they dig him up, and it's just like, why would they go dig this guy up? And then they like shove a big giant metal pole through his heart, and then it gets struck by lightning, and he comes back, and I was just like cracking up, but I don't know. He does look cool. He looks cool.
Well, they do the same thing in Part 5, and I believe one of the lines was, "Let's get a look at the main man." So that was pretty cheesy too.
Yeah.
But
when we get together and we're going to do a video without your head on video, which it's never going to happen, but I'm just saying this because I want to ramble about something, and we're going to go up and dig up some like famous killer and
Say, let's get a look at the main man.
Right. Now we're going to jam a big metal ball through his heart.
How sick are those guys? They're just like, let's get a look at the main man. It's like you're going out to Charles Manson's grave, and you're like, let's get a look at the main man.
And they're just like some normal kids. And normal kids go and dig up like some dead, serial killer.
Shouldn't they look like more demented in a way? But
yeah, exactly. Should be escaped mental patients from part 4, part 5. So.
Yeah, and freaking Horseshack was in part 6.
Or it could have been like Geraldo. Oh, yeah.
You can't forget that guy. He's the dude with Tommy Jarvis at the beginning.
Oh, my God. Pretty sad.
if he's not on Celebrity Boxing getting beat up by Danny,
Screech?
Was it Screech that beat him up?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was Danny Bonaducci, but he beat up Greg Brady. But if he's not on that, he was in the Friday the 13th films. They need to bring that character back, but he gets stabbed in the gut. Maybe he could just come back in like a sequel and just be like, I'm still alive from part 6. But I don't know. I love the structure of part 5. I thought it was pretty well put together. And like I was saying, Jason has a tool belt in this one. He has like tools on the side of his like,
which apparently he's buried with.
Yeah. Who knows? Go figure. And he has like these little throwing darts in it, and he was like throwing these darts at people and stuff.
Right. He's basically got the utility belt. He's like, he's throwing the Jason rings and the.
Oh, that's sweet then.
Right.
Another one of my favorite scenes in part 6, which there's a bunch in 6 that I just love, is like when these two people are just driving down the road, and then they just see this Jason standing in the middle of the road with a freaking spear in his hands. And then whenever he shoves the spear through the window, I thought that was pretty awesome looking too.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of comedy in this one.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Again,
for
if you watch the special features, the guy, he says you want to put some a lot of comedy and have some fun with it, but they told him that was cool as long as they didn't make fun of Jason himself, which I guess is you weren't supposed to like belittle the main character.
Yeah.
Right.
I wish people in Jason X took that same method. I'm sorry, Troy. What were you saying?
No, I think that's like the mystique,
Yeah.
It's like everything can be goofy and stuff, but as long as he still looks badass while he's killing people,
Right.
then it's all right.
Oh, man.
So how does parts? Well, basically he's a zombie now. The other ones he's a crazy man. Then it's a different guy.
Yeah.
And this one he's just brought back from the dead, so he's a zombie.
Basically, the ending to part 6, they put a chain around his neck and they take a big freaking rock and drop him to the bottom of Crystal Lake.
Don't they actually cut him up with the with like the motor of the boat?
Yeah, it has like a little scene where he's like, I think he's like he's fighting with Tommy at the end because he falls over with the boat with him, and he's like trying to choke him out. And then they get like the boat motor running, and then they chop him in the side of the face, which they carry that over to the sequels, which I love. And they also have a bullet hole that's done to the mask in this one, which was in part 7.
In this one too, when he dies.
Yeah.
Right. Hold on. Go on, guys.
All right. When I don't know, but like he gets his like throat cut up in this one, and then he kind of gets like dropped down to the bottom of the lake. And, they have to bring him back for part 7, so they try to think of the best way to bring him back for part 7. And the best way to bring him back for part 7 is to have a girl with freaking telepathy or telekinesis or whatever the hell it is. And they're like, basically she like, her dad's like dragged under the lake or something like that.
Yeah, it doesn't really make much sense, but they needed a way to bring back the Jason character.
Mm-hmm.
At least so in this one, I mean, since he's a zombie, it makes sense that they could just bring him back out of the water. It was actually a pretty cool way to get rid of him, to tie him up with almost like anchor him at the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah, because then you can bring him out whenever you need him.
Yeah. Now that's what I was going to say earlier. Was at the end of this one, unlike a lot of the other ones where, I guess at the end of 2 he comes back too, he jumps through the window. Mm-hmm. But at the end of this one, it doesn't really end with him being dead because his eyes open. I think right at the end of the movie, don't they?
Part 6 ends with his eyes like opening. I believe.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
The end of part 6.
Yeah. Part
Which
7.
pretty much gives away that they're going to make it part 7.
Oh, of course.
All right.
Part 7 is definitely not one of my favorites. A lot of people will like this one. I think it's kind of because of the look of Jason, which I think it looks pretty cool too. But like, the guy has like basically like bones showing in his back, and he's like this big Hulk-looking kind of character. You know, like he's pretty huge in it, but he has like bones coming out his back.
Right.
Like if you had bones showing like your rib cage from your back, you're going to be like a skinny dude, you know?
Right, you wouldn't have
or at least
muscles
a
on
big
it.
piece of you's missing or something. You know?
Yeah, so I kind of disagree with that. I don't know, maybe that's just a dorky way of looking at it.
Right.
No, you're looking at it logically, though.
Yeah.
Logically, that doesn't make any sense.
But then again, it is a really nice looking design too, as well. But I don't know. I'm like, I have like 6 hands. I'm like on one hand, but on the other hand.
He definitely does look cool.
Yeah, it does look cool for sure.
Now, is this the one, does he take Manhattan? Is that seven?
No, the 7 one he basically... See, and this one's a little weird because he's not just battling, people. He's battling somebody else who actually has powers theirself, is the girl with the telekinesis.
Oh, okay.
It's an awful idea, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of
I
silly.
just don't remember that one very well.
Yeah, it's. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's kind of neat in it, but it's like it's pretty stupid. This girl with telekinesis is like making like lamps hit him in the head and just all this crazy
So
stuff.
it's
And
kind of like Carrie versus Jason in this one?
Yeah, basically.
yeah.
Yeah, it does. Like John was saying though, it definitely looks good. Like everything, like the special effects are cool, and it's got like really good makeup job. He's a pretty monstrous looking guy in this one.
Yeah. So, in the end of this one, I think like her dad, who like died like years ago when she was a little girl, jumps out of the lake and drags Jason under.
Oh, okay.
So
So it's kind of a little like, revenge on Jason thing. Then.
I guess so. I don't know. Go figure.
There's 2 minutes left before
Uh-oh.
midnight. It looks like. Unless something happens, unless there's like a gas leak, or one of you guys freak out, looks like we're gonna survive Friday the 13th.
What's that guy whispering over there? What's he thinking?
My God.
nothing?
What is that guy over there? Oh my God.
Huh?
We're not alone
What is
down
this
here.
thing?
We're not alone down here. Maybe we should
He's got
just...
bones sticking out of his
Oh
head.
my God.
Oh man.
Quick, use your telepathy.
Jason takes Manhattan.
No, I hit him with the lamp.
That's the next one? That's 8.
He's done. Alright.
Part 8, Jason takes Manhattan.
Oh man.
I freaking hate this one.
They don't even get to Manhattan until the end of the movie, but the whole point of the movie is like really silly. Is like he gets on the boat and like they go to you explain it, John.
I think I could get more behind it, the corny aspects of the film, and like really kind of enjoy it a lot more if he was just running around the streets of freaking Manhattan,
Right,
just
right. And that's not even that's
slaughtering
not the very
freaking
end.
taxi drivers and
Yeah. It's basically like the King Kong idea. They're taking him out of his environment and throwing him in the city.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Crocodile Dundee thing.
Crocodile Dundee, King Kong, that kind of thing.
Crocodile Dundee.
Beverly Hillbillies.
Yeah, anyway.
Oh man, Paul Hogan versus Jason Voorhees. Could you see it down the line?
Might be next one. Jason Down Under.
Yeah, that's the dream matchup there, because they've done the Carrie versus Jason.
All right, everybody.
Actually, that would be a good movie. Now, this picture, Jason's, is loose. He's crazy. So who do they hire to hunt him down? They hire Paul Hogan because he hunts crocodiles and hunts down Jason.
It is now 12 o'clock. We have officially made it through Friday the 13th.
Oh man,
Safe for another year.
we're safe for another year.
Well,
thanks everybody for joining us. Let's finish.
What is the next Friday 13th?
That would be a good way though to.
When is the next Friday the 13th? I think it's probably in January.
I think it's on the 13th.
It's in January, I believe.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. So we're safe for this till next January, I guess, or whenever the next is. But oh man, I'm just glad to get through it.
Gogo's a big fan of Friday the 13th Part 8 here in the chat room. He also says that The Darkest Side of the Night is the best Friday the 13th track ever.
Oh yeah, I love that tune. I want to say it's the best tune for Friday the 13th. I'm kind of big on the on Part 5's and Part 3 definitely. The intro track on Part 3, I think it's really great. And then Part 5, they have this. I forget the name of the band. It was the same band that did that. It's like His Eyes or something like that. And then Part 6 had Alice Cooper. So
Oh, that's right. That's right. I do remember that.
Yeah, I'd recommend anybody too to check out First Jason if you get a chance. I think you can check out their MySpace. Right, if you go to the Without Your Head MySpace, they're in our top friend list. And lead singer is Ari Lehman, who we had on the show, who played Jason in the very first Friday the 13th.
Yeah, now I do love the track though, and I believe he sent that to me at one time, and I think it's a great track. But there's other like songs on Friday the 13th that I like probably better, but I don't know. If he likes part 8 though, I freaking hate this one.
Just to get back to what we were saying about Part 8, if it was all him, because the stuff that actually happens in Manhattan, I mean, some of it's pretty memorable, like him punching the guy's head off and it rolls and it falls into the dumpster and it closes. Now, I mean, I remember that scene and it makes me laugh. If it was just all that stuff, I mean, it probably wouldn't be good, but I probably would have enjoyed it. Because by this time, you pretty much have to. I think you had to kind of make a kind of a spoof almost.
Yeah, if it was called like Jason Takes a Cruise, it might have been better because they spent the whole thing on like a cruise boat.
Yeah,
it's like I don't know. Where were they cruising to? Because if they end up in New York, it's like they're obviously in America when they started. And then they end up in New York? Were they going from Florida to
how'd they end up from Crystal Lake and they're floating in New York?
I don't know.
It's just so bizarre. And then the end of this movie is just it's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, if Ryan wants to call in and like kind of combat our points here, but I don't know. I mean, I hate this one. It's like
it wasn't Ryan, it was Golgo.
Golgo?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because the very end, which I'm sure everybody knows it, is listening to the show. If not, it's a spoiler here, so don't listen. But, he turns back into a little kid at the end of this movie.
Yep. Thus ends the Jason run with Paramount Pictures.
Yes. Now, do you think the idea was to, have the sequel where he's a little kid again?
I don't know. I fucking hate Part 8.
Whenever you turn somebody they did it in Dragon Ball Z. They had enough of the Akira Toriyama, the guy that does Dragon Ball.
All right.
He had, Goku in the original Dragon Ball. He was a little kid, and then, this is his whole life story through Dragon Ball Z. So he ended the series, so the company that owns the rights, they picked it up again, and he had nothing to do with it. He just had the characters. So then they turned Goku into a little kid again, and then it was horrible. It just, killed the entire series. So it never works. Don't turn your character into a little kid.
All right.
And another cardinal rule is don't ever blast your character to space.
That's true, too.
Or send him back into time. or forward into time.
Or blow him into pieces and have somebody eat his heart and go around and
now you would
characters.
You would think these are all things that we don't have to tell people, like they should just know. But if you don't know, you should listen to us. I mean, we know what we're talking about. We enjoy movies. We don't want to see someone get blasted off into space who's not in space to begin. He's not Buck Rogers. Unless you're Buck Rogers, you shouldn't be traveling into space.
That's true.
All right, Jason Goes to Hell. It's the first New Line Jason picture, but it's I don't know. New Line has never used the Friday the 13th title, so I don't know if they just don't own the rights to the title Friday the 13th, or if they just only own the rights to the Jason character.
Oh, that's odd.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they use the Final Friday as the tagline for Jason. Jason Goes to Hell, but I freaking hate Jason Goes to Hell. I think it's probably the one that I would watch like the least. I wouldn't want to watch this one. Like it pains me.
I'll always remember this movie because I actually went to see it at the theater, at the old Buzzards Bay Theater, which was closed and now it's reopened under a different name. But I went there with friend Brian, who Troy knows, and it was just us. It was me and him, and we were sitting on the one side, and one other guy in the theater, and he sat there the whole time, just staring at the movie, and we were laughing like when he took the bite of the heart, and we would just start cracking up laughing. Now, if I watch that at home, I'd probably just like, oh god, this movie's terrible. But you know, when you're there with like a buddy and you're watching that, you can enjoy just like how like it's stupid it is, and we were just dying. And that guy, he didn't move, but you could just see he was like seething, like he just wanted to like kill us because we were laughing, and he was just intently watching this movie.
So basically, he went into the Jason Goes to Hell just wanting to like it so bad and wanting it to be like the best movie ever.
Right. Maybe.
And you guys went in there to heckle him.
Right. We went there to heckle the movie.
Now this same thing happened to me whenever I went to Land of the Dead.
Right.
I was being laughed at and made the fool of.
Oh man!
Because like one of my heroes in film, like just made this pretty bad movie. I mean, I'll admit it now, it wasn't that great. But like my friends were just laughing at me. They're like, look at this laughing stock. This guy's your hero. It's like, oh man, that wasn't a very proud moment.
I don't go to the movies too often. I have another. It's kind of maybe it was payback. I went to see The Doors. And which was I actually really liked The Doors. So it was a really good movie, and it was even cooler to see it on the big screen because a lot of the imagery looked cool on there. But anyway, there was two old hippies sitting in front of us. They were like, they even still looked like they were hippies now, kind of like bikies, but they were hippies. And they just did commentary throughout the whole movie, and they were just like, this is the beginning of the end for it was just so insane.
Yeah, I hate people that talk during films. Especially, that's like the worst thing to go to the movies and just hear people like just talking through the entire thing. Maybe a joke every now and then, but like,
don't do it, Jim. Don't do it.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. Jason Goes to Hell.
Almost, it's like he died, dude. It's a real dude. They know what happened to him. No, they're gonna change history if this movie says something different.
All right.
All right, you live this time.
It's like, all right, let's let Jim Morrison live. The naked Indian does like some sort of like I don't know, ritual and brings him back to life.
So he sticks a metal pole in his chest and gets struck by lightning.
There you go.
Well, that's what we could do. We could go to France. And then we'll dig him up. Although I'm not a fan of Morrison, so let him stay dead.
Wasn't there a thing like that the place he's buried in? It's like a real famous, and like they actually like kind of pay rent on like the bodies. Like they're only allowed there so often. Like if they didn't keep paying like for him to be there, they had to move the body or something.
Yeah. Yep.
I think I actually heard that they did move that grave or something. I'm not sure.
Who ever thought of that? That's like a big scheme. You got to pay rent when you're dead.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're not kidding.
We're evicting you, digging them up, throwing them out.
On the Morrison thing, though, I will say that I think his lyrics are awesome, but like his poetry is just crap.
Yeah, and I can't take that much organ music. It just drives me.
Oh yeah, you don't like the organ. I forgot.
I think if you liked, I should probably like his more mainstream music that you hear. But if you hear some of his weirder stuff. Not really a big fan of it, but I have to admit, I like The Doors.
I like The Doors. But
I don't.
You hate the organ, though. I know that.
I do. It drives me bizarre.
Awesome.
Oh, man.
But when we were in France, we stayed near the cemetery. We spent a lot of time just looking at, like, some of the different, like, graves there, and, like, they're all so ornate and just, like, they had like all these really famous people, like Voltaire was there, and like all these famous French people. And it was kind of gruesome though, because like on a lot of the more famous ones, people had like started to pluck pieces off of them.
Oh man.
Like
No,
if it was a statue or something, like people would take pieces of these things.
Yeah, that's
And
awful.
it was just kind of like, I don't know who would do that, you know?
Yeah, that's just nasty.
Yeah.
Like somebody, like, do you really need like Victor Hugo's nose from his, from his sarcophagus?
Right.
It's kind of gross, I think.
Well, just back to your on track here. Gogo mentioned about after Jason gets blown up, it goes downhill in part 9.
You are correct, sir. Because Jason looked pretty cool in this one. Like, he was kind of like weird, like all burned up or something, and he kind of looked pretty neat in this one. It's a different look, and he had little hairs out of the back of his head, but
Right.
yeah,
The
once
way
they
it
blow him
opens,
up,
like-
it's all downhill.
Yeah, it opens up and kind of unlike the other ones where it's not. I don't know if they like really make a public thing about Jason Voorhees, like it's all over the news, like everybody in the country knows. This one, it kind of acknowledges that he exists, and like the army comes there and blows him up, which in a way is kind of a neat idea. But then, like after you do that, it's like, well, what do you do with him now?
Well, how did they explain? How did he not be a kid anymore?
They did. He just came
They
back.
just said, forget
okay,
that.
Just wasn't a kid. All right.
Right. He grew up. It's like 20 years later. He's all grown up. No.
So as bad as Jason Goes to Hell, they at least had the good knowledge not to make him a kid. But then they were like, well, let's do this this body transfer thing. And it's like, well, what are you? What the hell?
So he blows up, and then the doctor is like doing the autopsy. He sees the heart, and he, like any normal person, I think, he just decides to take a big bite out of it.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, it's there. You gotta, kind of wonder, gee, might be tutti frutti
Right.
on, hey, why?
Which I think it even out. I mentioned the stuff earlier. I think it even out that just outdoes the stuff. Which the opening of the stuff, there's white stuff pouring out of the ground, and the guy eats it, and that's just insane by itself. But I would probably, not that I would do any of this, but I would probably eat something bubbling out of the ground before I would just eat a dead guy's heart.
Yeah.
That's uncooked and beating, I believe.
Now, K&B Effects, they actually did the effects for this one, and there's some really neat effects in it. But still, I just hate this movie.
Right. So how does this one end?
This one ends where Jason actually gets resurrected or whatever, and he comes back, and then I think
This one even has the Book of the Dead and stuff.
Yeah,
they just throw everything they can in this movie.
Because I think that's the K&B tie-in there, because they did the effects for.
Right.
Yeah, they did the effects for Evil Dead Part 2.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean that they really had the Book of the Dead, though, in the Voorhees house. That's pretty ridiculous.
Who knows? And even the dagger, it was the same as what's used in Evil Dead. But
yeah.
I don't know.
So they're hooked on the Necronomicon, huh? If it's by New Line or something, then it's going to have the Necronomicon in it.
I guess so. I don't know.
And then I have to admit, part that I really do like about this movie, because I thought the character was really funny, was the bounty hunter.
Now, it could have been cool if they would have went into that a little bit deeper or something.
Yeah, I mean, it could actually be taken seriously, but he was way over the top, and he's give me, when he's the guy was asked for questions, and he's like, well, give me your hand. He breaks his finger every time he would answer a question for him. And I was just like, why on earth would that guy do that for?
Oh man, yeah, I think the hands of hell come out and grab Jason at the end of this movie and drag him back to hell or something.
Yeah, then the very last scene, I don't know if it's after the credits or what, but because I remember hearing about this beforehand, and then you saw it was there was rumors there was going to be a tie-in with Freddy Krueger, and the Freddy glove pops out and grabs a mask, and
which was actually, that hand was actually played by Kane Hodder, the man who played Jason in Part 7, and then he played him in Manhattan. And then he played him in Jason Goes to Hell. And then he goes on to play him in Jason X.
Which was the next film, Jason X.
Now, when I say I hate Jason Goes to Hell and I don't want to watch it at all, I can watch Jason X just to kind of laugh at it. Just because it's a total cornball fest, I mean, they blast the man to space.
Why was it the direct sequel after this, the Jason versus Freddy? Because that's how it ends.
I don't know. I think the studio just didn't know what they were doing on that one, because they waited forever to actually get it done. And,
Right.
I mean, if they would have did it right then, I think it would have been like a huge movie, you know? Mm-hmm. But I don't know why they didn't do that. It's who knows? I mean, you know, it's both New Line Cinema, so you figured they would do it, but oh well.
Yeah.
Anyhow, this one they blast Jason into space, and
Right. Well, what happens is I guess they still can't kill the guy.
Mm-hmm.
So what they do is they freeze him.
Yeah.
Oh, like the Blob, huh?
Yeah. Well, that's more like almost more like Ted Williams' head, or like Walt Disney.
Yeah.
I guess
Right,
they freeze him just in case. It's like, well, you know, in the future we might have a cure for this, and we might have a cure for like you know, crazy maniacs, and we might want to bring him back.
Yep.
And so they freeze him, and then I don't know why they just don't freeze him and just totally destroy him, but they freeze him, and then like I guess years later they thaw him out. You know, it's way in the future, and they thaw him out. And he's on a spaceship.
Yeah, no. If I watch, like, if I listen to the commentary on this film and the guys who wrote this film, I believe it was James Isaac, I believe is his name, or something like that. I forget what the dude's name was. But if he said like, "Oh yeah, I freaking hate the Jason movies, and I just want to make the worst film ever," and make it as corny, as cheesy as I possibly could, I could accept that. You know, that'd be fine. You know, I could,
right.
But like. He's totally lying whenever he's doing this commentary. He's like, well, the fans were sick of Jason. They wanted to see something different. I wasn't.
Exactly.
I wanted to see some more Camp Crystal Lake. I wanted to see some more. And then they blast him to space.
If there's fans of the series, they're obviously not sick of the character, else they wouldn't be fans of the series anymore to make a sequel.
I don't know where they were getting the input that they were just sick of the series and they'd rather have him seem blast to space.
And then
dream that one up.
Yeah, and then they gotta do like these weird like hologram like rooms to like that puts them in Camp Crystal Lake. And then somehow he gets, like, metal. I don't even know how that happens.
Now, when I was first watching this film, I was actually thinking, like, when they did the Camp Crystal Lake, and they are, like, trying to buy time so the ship wouldn't explode or whatever, and I thought they were actually going to do, and I thought it was, like, probably one of the best ideas ever, was, like, they're going to have, like, old school Jason versus the new Uber Jason, and to see who would win, you know? And I was like, oh, that sounds really cool. But no, it was just a stupid joke. they redid the sleeping bag scene from part 7, so.
Right.
You fucking assholes.
There is a cool
you guys who made Jason X. God damn you.
There's a cool
done anything since.
I think they have. I think the guy who did it, I think he did like the Amityville Part 3 or something, or House 3 or something like that. And he's a real. I think him and Cronenberg, they're kind of like buddies. I don't know, but like that might have been how he got this job. But I don't know. Why'd you have to make a complete mockery of the character? I mean, and then they have a cyborg beat him up and like blast his head off, and it's like, come on.
That's the worst scene ever.
Jason's a bad character, and you're making him like you're getting him beat up by a freaking cyborg.
Doesn't he become? How does he become? Doesn't he become a cyborg himself?
Yeah, he's Uber Jason.
How though?
Yeah, these little like bugs, like I don't know. It's freaking awful. He like blends with the spaceship, and now he's flying in the space. I mean, I can laugh at this stuff. It's pretty funny, but would I rather seen like a straight up sequel to the movies? Yes. God damn you. If you're listening to me, I fucking hate you.
There is a cool scene when he freezes someone's face and shatters it.
Yeah, that was a cool scene. And I like where he throws the kid on, or girl, whoever it was, on that like big like drill bit thing or whatever, and they kind of like spiral down it. I thought that was a pretty cool death. But as far as the whole movie, I can laugh at it, and I think it's funny, you know, goofball kind of humor, but...
Right. I mean, there's no way that I don't know. Like we were saying earlier, like they wouldn't let Tom Savini put a microwave on his head in Part 4. And now someone could come in and say, "Well, we're going to throw him up in outer space."
I'd rather throw 1,000 microwaves on Jason, for Christ's sakes. I don't care. Please. That would have bothered me so much. Hire Buster Rhymes to beat him up, for Christ's sakes. Not a cyborg. At least he did woo-ha or whatever. Alright. Okay, I think we can probably finish this up about now. We'll get into Freddy vs. Jason. It wasn't like a great movie, like from the storyline. I wish they would have did less of that. I wish it was just like it was full on battle mode. You know, like
right.
let's have Jason and Freddy duke it out, because I love the interaction between the characters.
Mm-hmm. It's two completely different characters. You just got the crazy killing machine who doesn't say a word, and then you got the wisecracking guy who's more of a mystical guy. Than the original Jason character.
And I love the way that Robert Englund played off of him, and just like, you know, kind of just like whenever he turns him back into a kid, and he's like only a face a mother could love, or something like that. Right. He's like, he says like, "You ugly little shit." Yeah, I thought that was pretty good stuff. And this is, I don't know, kind of like I was kind of like going over like scenarios in my head, like what they could do with a Freddy vs. Jason, and I thought like maybe like Satan just wants to like sanction a match between the two. You know, and he just has like just full on like battle out in hell or whatever. You know, I don't know.
That's how it should. I think they should have just fought in hell, because he brought him to hell basically when he goes to hell. So maybe they should have just had a big fight in hell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that would have been different. That would have been okay.
Mm-hmm. They could have done it. They could have had I don't know. But you had Freddy versus Jason, kind of a throwback to when they used to do like Frankenstein versus Wolfman and that kind of stuff. You think we'll ever see any more of these? You think we'll see Jason versus versus Chucky?
I think you will.
It was kind of rumored like that they were going to do like a Hellraiser versus Michael Myers, which I kind of think is an uneven match. But like really, Freddy versus Jason is kind of an uneven match. I mean, if Freddy gets Jason in his like dream world or whatever, you know, he'd just destroy him, which is what kind of happened in the film. But like, I don't know. I heard like rumors about stuff, and like maybe they even put Ash in the third Freddy vs. Jason or something like that, which I don't really like that idea, because
right.
I just want to see Jason and Freddy go at it. But yeah,
I don't think that like Jason against Michael Myers would be the best.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Problem there, though, is like the two studios, which I'm sure you're aware of that or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They'd have to work out a deal.
Yeah, you'd have to think of a way to get all these guys combined. I did like the bounty hunter idea. I always thought maybe if you had you had a bounty hunter try to hunt down all these killers, maybe you'd go after Jason and Leatherface and all these guys and kind of tie them all together. Maybe that would be a way you could do it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, when you start doing that, you're bringing in another character. It's kind of like the Alien versus Predator thing. People just want to see Alien versus Predator. They didn't want to see
all this other jazz.
Yeah, they didn't want to see all this human interaction with
them.
Oh yeah. Alrighty, I think that pretty much sums up our freaking Friday the 13th.
Right.
Going through all of the movies, I didn't think it'd take us this long, but
yeah. Since we told people we're gonna take some calls, so people want to call in, so we're gonna take a little break and come back, and we'll take a few calls, and we'll wrap up the Friday the 13th show.
Yep, excellent. We'll be right back.
This is Betsy Palmer, and I'm not sorry that I lost my head. It's been worth every moment of it.
All right, we're back once again, and welcome back, everybody, to Without Your Head. Hope you enjoyed the Friday the 13th.
Happy Friday 13th, even though it's belated now.
Right, and we're happy that we're all alive.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we're very happy.
And we are joined by someone else who is also alive. And that was the Italians, so we let them call into the show.
I've made it on Saturday the 14th.
Right. We're joined.
The bowl.
We're joined by Ryron, one of the regulars on the chat room over at WithoutYourHead.com.
Mm-hmm.
The message board. Message board and chat room's interchangeable to me. There's plenty of people out there.
All around good guy.
Yeah. So
Oh, definitely. We really appreciate it, too.
yeah. So what's on your mind, Ryron, tonight?
Well, obviously, I'm a huge fan of the Friday the 13th series.
Mhm.
That's why my screen name is Ryron Voorhees.
Right.
Excellent.
I was born just around the time the first one came out, so those movies were like what all the older kids were talking about constantly.
Mm-hmm.
They were the first movies that I snuck out of the video store. It was a wonderful video store that was like $1 to rent a movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
$1,
I
you could
missed
see
those.
every one of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I miss that too. I miss the kind of old, the mom and pop shop video store, not the Blockbuster.
Right.
Yeah, for
With
sure.
a 65-year-old woman who really didn't care how old you were or what kind of movie you were in.
Right, as long as you paid the buck, you were. Just get out of my hair, kid.
I witnessed wonderful horrors at the early age of 9. Magnificent body count of Friday the 13th, Part 6, where he ran out of ways to kill people, so he just started shoving his hand through people. Magnificent show.
So, is there anything you disagreed with? You disagreed with us on? Is there a particular favorite film of yours?
Well, 6 is my favorite.
6.
Mhm.
So unlike us, who I think I know John and I, probably Troy too. We actually like the Jason, when he's an actual person better.
Oh, I like 6 as well, too. I think 6
But
is
I think
really
if you
solid,
were
too.
going to say which you like better, you probably like
Yeah.
him better.
Yeah, probably
as
as a person, yeah.
right.
I love the look of him in 6 as well, but
Mm-hmm. But I think Ryan actually prefers him as the zombie character.
Yeah, see, Child Ryron was a sick, evil fuck, and he rooted for every villain, and if that villain was unstoppable, he was twice as good.
Oh, okay.
So, that's why if you were to ask me at 13, I would have told you the Halloween film sucked in comparison to Friday the 13th, because Jason could kill a lot more people.
Oh, man.
And of course, I matured. I learned.
Well, that is until you go to Manhattan and come into contact with some chemical waste, and then you, too, will be a child once again.
I was really hoping that Friday the 13th Part 8 would be. Because, after 7, when they bring back that girl's dad,
Right.
he just so happened to be at the bottom of the lake, too. I was hoping Friday the 13th Part 8, you just have thousands of other people at the bottom of the lake would start coming up.
Now, that's something they never did. Kind of like they did in Maniac, where when all his victims come back and like get revenge. Now that actually, when he went to hell, that could have been a perfect thing for him in hell. Was all his victims come back to get revenge?
See, they didn't have to send him into space.
Right.
There were other things to do.
Right. Then they could have played. Does Jason Voorhees have a conscience?
I thought in Freddy vs. Jason it would have been a neat little scene. It's just kind of something I concocted in my head, like where they kind of like have like a bragging rights scene, like that Freddy like shows like all the people that he's killed, like they're like kind of standing behind him or something like that. And like Jason, it shows like all the people that standing behind him, and it would have been great if like Johnny Depp and Kevin Bacon would have did a cameo in it.
Yeah, that was wrong.
Well, I guess Kevin Bacon wouldn't have been like one of Jason's victims, but like maybe like if they would have just did like a little cameo of it, like they're having like a scene where they're talking together or something, and then like Freddy and Jason go by fighting or something.
Right.
So you're
I
to the
think
chat.
Probably that Kevin Bacon's publicist put the kibosh on the whole deal.
Damn that publicist.
Well, you had a kick-ass without your head, without him anyway.
Oh, well, thank you. We really appreciate that. 6 degrees of without your head.
Do you think that game annoys him?
Probably. It would probably annoy me, I think.
Although you never know, as long as people are still talking about him, like he might not care.
Yeah, we would have just talked about Friday the 13th. We could have talked about Hollow Man.
Yep.
Yeah.
See?
Stir of Echoes. I'm sure Troy is in love with that movie.
Oh,
man.
That's the worst adaptation of a Matheson story ever.
Mm-hmm. I've actually never seen Stir of Echoes well, I've seen Hollow Man, yeah.
Mm-hmm. They made a Hollow Man 2.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one. I've seen the first one, but
right.
But Stir of Echoes, I was kind of always kind of intrigued by that one, but I never did watch it. It had some interesting trailers. What'd you think about it, Troy?
Good story, but they lost it.
Is that with the house?
Yeah.
And the crazy guy who worked on that. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not really big on the spooky house stories.
See, you're not like a ghost story guy. That's why I was surprised you liked 1408.
I did like 1408. Just probably because I thought the actor was really good in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of intrigued by that one.
The exception, the ghost story that you'll enjoy.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you think that they could make another sequel to Friday the 13th? Where could they go with the character? Or do you think that if they are going to do another one, that they should just do an H2O or just a remake treatment and just remake the film, the first one?
I would love a sequel where, following the events of Freddy vs. Jason and Freddy's head go to try and make it in New York again. They take a second crack at it. They would try to work their way up from the bottom.
Going back to New York.
Freddy's head will be cracking wisecracks or something?
Yeah, buddy movie between Jason with no fingers and Freddy as just a head.
All right.
Maybe he can become a ventriloquist.
It's just Freddy cracking wise jokes, I could have killed him better than that.
Yeah, just hanging off of the utility belt.
I can see that.
Carry around on his shoulder like a parrot.
Yeah. Or when they added Mr. Burns' head to Homer's body.
I think Reanimator probably has the best scenes with a dismembered head.
They should bring that head in to fight Freddy's head. You could do a bigger crossover. Freddy and Jason versus Reanimator.
So I just want to mention quick, Hollow Man 2 actually had Christian Slater in it.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, who was who used to be a really good actor.
Yeah, I used to be a pretty big Christian Slater fan. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to the dude. It's probably the personal demons. I don't know.
You ever seen that one movie? It's kind of weird movie. It's Very Bad Things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was kind of good at the beginning, and then it just kind of went downhill. But I don't know. That was kind of an interesting film. Then us being on whatever you want to call it, crazy podcast radio, you got to be a fan of Pump Up the Volume.
Pump up the volume.
I think he was hanging out with Robert Downey Jr. too much. I think that was it.
Yeah, but see, Robert Downey Jr. still makes the big movies once in a while.
Oh, he's going to be Iron Man. He's gonna be Tony Stark.
Oh, really? Well, that's a good guy to play Iron Man because he's got the because Iron Man, Tony Stark, he's got problems. He's not like the all American dude. He battles alcoholism.
He's fine,
Yeah.
But he's gold.
I love that everybody, as soon as they hear that Downey Jr. is going to be playing Iron Man, they're like, oh yeah, alcoholic.
Yeah, perfect.
Good actor.
Great casting.
See, I don't really know the whole Iron Man story, so I wouldn't have known that. But interesting.
Well, No, go on.
Iron Man is Batman with a big iron suit that can fly and drugs.
Yeah, basically. As Tony Stark, he's like the billionaire industrialist. He's got all the women, all the power and stuff. Booze hound.
Getting back to Friday 13th though, like you mentioned earlier, I kind of wanted to answer that question. It's if they made a sequel, what would you want it to be like?
Right.
I'd kind of like to see a mid kind of prequel, in between maybe the series or something. Not an actual prequel beforehand,
Right, when he's a kid.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to see that. But I'd like to see maybe another like a sequel off of a sequel or something like that. Like maybe in between the two or something.
Kind of skip a couple of the last few.
Yeah, and then just try to bring it back to like what it was. Try to do like a real good, just how it used to be.
Sort of an H2O type deal, is what you're saying.
Basically, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, where would you bring it back to?
I think if they tried to reinvent like some of the stuff that they did with like 1 through 4, I think that would be interesting to see. I'd actually like to see like maybe like it'd be hard to do like a one in between those because they all kind of like led into the other.
Right.
know?
There's no there's a little bit of time frame between 1 and 2, I guess.
Yeah, I guess you could do like one with like Jason with the bag on his head or something.
Yeah.
Right. People might not like that though, because I bet they'd be expecting the hockey mask.
Yeah, it'd be interesting though, but I don't know. I could see where people would kind of be sour to that idea. So
I do think if they do go with the remake that they've been talking, like there's been rumors for a long time, I think it's gonna be Jason's a killer and he's gonna be having the hockey mask, because I think that's what a lot of people are gonna expect, and they're not gonna want to do a remake and not even have Jason in it. And do where the mother's the killer again.
Yeah.
Right.
And not even see the the prequel to the Hannibal movies, Hannibal Rising. He doesn't even wear that mask that they show in all the pictures. Like the poster for the movies, him with the Hannibal mask, and he doesn't even have it in the movie. I thought that was really strange.
Is it as bad as Mrs. Flea told me it was?
I absolutely hated it. I thought it was just a terrible movie.
We didn't watch a movie. She had read the book, and she hated it so much. We figured probably a good idea not to go see it.
I really disliked the whole movie. It's like he learns to be like a ninja or like a samurai, and and he fights Nazis, and it's like the whole. First of all, he's fighting these Nazis, and it's just like they try to make him like a good guy in a way, or like explain why he's a killer and he only kills bad people basically. And it's like, do they have to do that? And to be able to do that, it's like, well, what's like worse than Hannibal Lecter? We can have him fight that no one will.
Oh, exactly.
No one's going to boo Lecter. Oh, I know Nazis who ate his sister when she was like 6. No one's going to be cheering for cannibalistic Nazis.
It's like, why are they trying to humanize all these characters? It's like Darth Vader. They went back and tried to make it look like he had reason for what he did, and it's just like, you don't want, you want him just to be, just evil.
Yeah, not everybody needs, this great reason,
Actually, I actually, that was against my original book, because I actually did like part 3 of Star Wars.
Oh, I did too, but the whole...
1 and 2 are terrible.
Yeah.
Really? I thought the last one was really good, actually.
I enjoyed part 3.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But but the series, it kind of gave you reason why you went to the dark side, which I guess was pretty interesting.
I kind of like that because that's a pretty big part of the original movies. Mm-hmm. Is him trying to bring his son to the dark side. So I liked it. Because they even humanized him at the end of the film, so you realize that he was a person at one time.
Yeah, but
so it kind of made a little sense.
But the one scene with where it's like, what about what's her name, Padme or whatever, and then it's like, she died or whatever, and he's like, no.
I like that scene. Some people made fun of it. I actually liked it. That was good.
That's just about as bad as the dude eating the heart.
No.
But I think it does give you more input on the character Darth Vader and
right.
stuff.
This one was just bizarre. I mean, it's like he's fighting Nazis, and then he falls in love with this Asian woman who makes him a ninja, and then I was like, well, when the hell does he become a doctor?
So because Mrs. Flea was telling me about this, and she said that he's a German kid or something, or he's a gypsy kid. And it's like, well, he speaks pretty good English there for
I don't think none of the movies even in England. It's in Germany, and then it's in France, and he's with an Oriental woman. I don't understand. It makes no sense to me.
When you didn't read the book and don't, but when you get to the end and he's like, when Richard Harris is really proudly explaining why he inserted Lady Murasaki, you just want to punch him in the jaw. She wrote the real Lady Murasaki wrote the first novel, and you're just like, that doesn't explain why she's in fucking Europe in the middle of World War II. But, I think that movies, they try too hard with to sympathize, to make their characters sympathetic when they've already got them established in these origin stories. I'm really sick of origin stories. And not just in movies, but in comic books and in novels. I didn't bother to go see Hannibal Rising. In real life, people should understand that when people do vile things, there are usually extreme causes, that a lot of serial killers had traumatic childhood. But in entertaining movies, you do not need Hannibal fighting the Nazis.
No. I think in all the films, I haven't read any of the books, so I'm not sure, but I think all the films that work the best with the Hannibal character, it's when he doesn't have a lot of power and he's scarier that way, because you know that if he gets any little chance, like, what can this guy do?
Right.
And it's a lot scarier there. Any of the movies where he's like free and roaming around, it loses a lot of the mystique of the character.
Right.
Well, I think Tom Harrison, I think he, like, just fell in love with the character, you know? He's like, he turned him into, like, he's the cannibal James Bond, and you know.
Yeah.
In what was the one that, was it just Hannibal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
The Spies.
Yeah, when he's that's just a terrible movie.
I actually remember hearing something when he was in the process of writing, like, the sequel to, when he was writing Hannibal. He, like, didn't want to watch the movie because of that reason or something like that. Like, he didn't want to watch Silence of the Lambs because he didn't want it to like, reflect on his book.
Right.
So,
And it doesn't. I mean, it's just so many scenes are just way over the top, like making the guy cough his face, feeding him to the pigs, and then just the end scenes it's totally ridiculous. When he's the guy sitting at the dinner table with his
the most comical scene.
If that was in like a comedy movie, it would just be hilarious. But in like a realistic movie, a guy sitting at a dinner table with his head open and he's eating his own brain, he's frying up his brain at the dinner table. It's just like, come on.
And then you got to feel bad for who's the actor there that they were serving his brain? The guy from Goodfellas.
Right. He's gone from Henry Hill to eating his own brain at the dinner table. What the hell?
Ray Liotta.
Yeah.
It's like, he doesn't deserve that.
No.
Gary Oldman, he might, but not Ray Liotta.
Oh, man.
I was sorry, I had to.
So that's one. If they would have just said that, it would have came off way more scarier than showing him cutting it off his face. If they would have just and then your mind would have like, how the hell did he do that? But talking him into cutting his own face off, I mean, that's kind of a disturbing image to have in your head. But when they actually showed it, it just was silly to me.
Yeah. Too much on the psychological kind of like stuff you can do in a book that you can't do on screen.
Right.
I think that happens a lot in horror. That it just looks too cheesy when they actually do it. Like they actually show it to you. What you come up with in your head is a lot better than
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yep.
I don't know if you've been reading The Guy Eating His Own Brain. I don't know if that came out too good or not.
Oh, well.
I remembered in the book.
Forget that, dude. Strike that.
No, I know what you're saying, but I don't know about that. I don't know if that scene ever sounded good to anybody.
The book's ending to Hannibal is pretty tremendous.
The what?
The novel Hannibal?
Right.
The ending to that is way different from the movie.
Oh, really?
And I think that they must have changed the ending, hoping that for the movie, hoping they could do a sequel, because nobody would go see the sequel if they did the ending from the book.
Well, what was the ending of the book? We'll give the spoiler here.
Him and Clarice run away to Europe together.
Yeah, she completely
Psychotropic
changes.
drugs,
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
brainwash her, and
Oh, he brainwashes her? I thought they just... Well, I thought maybe she just... Because at the end of that one, you almost got to think that that's how it's going to end. But doesn't she like cut off her own hand or something? I don't remember.
He cuts off his hand.
Oh, that's right.
Intriguing.
Yeah. Well, we'll save that for Hannibal Day. This was Friday the 13th. Thank everyone for joining us for Friday the 13th night.
Oh, definitely.
And we'll be back, who knows when, but check the website, withoutyourhead.com. We got some guests lined up coming on. None of them are set in stone yet, except for Sherry Moon, which will be on August 16th.
And Conrad Brooks.
And
right?
Conrad Brooks will be back sometime in the near future. But everybody else, you keep checking the website and join up on the message board.
Alrighty, everybody. It's been a blast. I really appreciate it. Letting me rattle off about Friday the 13th for an hour straight.
Right.
You don't know how bad I've wanted to do that.
The childhood dream has come true.
I'll be glad to give you your Halloween show whenever Halloween comes back.
All right.
And I can rattle off again about all the Halloween sequels.
That sounds like a plan, and we just want to say a special thanks here to Ryron, because he's got to get up in like approximately 3 hours, I believe, now.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Sorry about
Catch
that,
the
Ryan.
train.
Ooh.
Yeah,
That's
it's
dedication.
grandmother's birthday, right?
Yeah.
Well, happy birthday,
happy
Ryron's
birthday.
grandma.
Wish
Grandma
her a happy-
Ryron, 90 years old tomorrow.
Happy
That's
birthday. Really, 90?
Not there yet. Yes.
Oh, excellent. Well, happy birthday, Grandma.
Excellent.
90 years of escaping Jason.
Oh, man, only Jason could.
Hey, this is Charles Van, and you're listening to WithoutYourHead.com.